Hasan Piker is not a socialist. Whether he believes that himself is a more interesting debate, but without a doubt, he is not a socialist. I first suspected this when I saw Hasan. I mean, come on, socialists are supposed to look like this, or this. But Hasan is a beautiful man. There's just no getting around that. But I find him less detestable than the serfs or Vosh, because he clearly doesn't understand what socialism is. He's a capitalist, but he doesn't seem to know it, which renders him harmless. So let's play a clip of Hasan talking about Venezuela.
Socialism makes me sad. Alexa, play Venezuela.
Venezuela is a corrupt, socialist dictatorship with a rapidly collapsing economy.
This Fox video is going viral on Facebook at the moment with over 6 million views in one day.
Everything the Fox News reporter said was true. Socialism wasn't the only problem in Venezuela, but it definitely was a huge part of it. To be charitable, you could say that socialism in Venezuela only exacerbated existing problems. But it's indubitable that socialism did contribute to the crisis in Venezuela.
Maduro is incredibly corrupt and running the country into the ground on top of that. But Stewart isn't talking about any of that anyway. The important lesson of Venezuela is for Americans who want health care.
Maybe Venezuela is best used as an example for our own socialists here in America.
And here is my main gripe with Hasan's ideology. The Fox News reporter didn't even mention healthcare. A lot of American socialists do this. They seem to equate wanting some social services, like healthcare, with being socialist and anti-capitalist. So let me be unequivocal about this. If all you want is free healthcare, you are not a socialist.
Here's a teaching moment for you, Stewart. Wanting universal healthcare is not the same as turning over this country into a totalitarian petro-state.
Yes, and wanting free healthcare is not equivalent to being a socialist, an anti-capitalist.
As a matter of fact, all developed countries have at least some socialist tendencies, even here in the US, where we have government-run fire departments, libraries, public schools, not to mention Social Security.
The key word being tendencies. No country is 100% capitalist, and no country is 100% socialist. What these guys are doing is advocating for capitalist systems with a few socialist elements, while simultaneously denouncing capitalism. Why? I'm guessing because they think it's cool to be iconoclastic, a rebel against the system. The reason I find someone like Kyle Kulinski or Destiny a lot more tolerable is because at least they're realistic.
How can you still believe capitalism is the best possible system when we see all around the world it relies on exploitation? Shouldn't we be saying, instead of reform, that it should be abolished? No, I disagree with that. And here's where I part with many people on the left, or I would say many revolutionaries on the left. I honestly think it's naive to take that position. A view of human nature is like a negative view of human nature, that people need to be constrained by this system of hierarchy and that we all need to just work for ourselves and there's nothing to this community idea. That's the right-wing idea, the far right-wing idea. The far left-wing idea is essentially the exact opposite, that people by their nature are basically good and they're communal and they're sympathetic and they care about everybody and they're kind and they'll do charity and they'll be cooperative. So those are the two camps here. I say they're both wrong and they're both right. They're both wrong in the sense that people aren't just dickish, individualistic assholes who don't care about anybody in their society or anybody else. That's just not true. That's like the Ayn Rand idea. It's just not true. And the opposite isn't true either, that all we want to do is hold hands and sing Kumbaya and be cooperative, and we don't care about greed or personal gain or materialism at our core with our real being. Yes, we do.
While Kyle's view is a lot better and a lot more realistic, it's still not perfect in my opinion, because it's not like there aren't communal aspects in a capitalist system. You're just given the freedom whether you want to be individualistic or charitable. Contrast that with socialism, where you're coerced into being communal. No one is forcing you to be individualistic under capitalism. But yeah, I'm not a hyper-capitalist. I do think we should have social safety nets where capitalism falls short. I just think Kyle's argument is simplistic.
The socialism I'm simply referring to is a fairer, more equitable means of distributing the wealth generated by you and me, the workers.
You and me, the workers. You know, the average schmuck that makes like $1 million per year on Twitch alone. He signs an exclusive deal with Amazon to continue rolling in the money. I was referenced to work at Amazon, and even I would turn down the opportunity. How much of a grifter can you be that you'll take wads of cash from one of the worst companies out there? He's pretty much the definition of a champagne socialist. Someone who claims to be a socialist while living in a way that contradicts socialist values. Not to mention the scandal when he bought a $3 million home. He gave a lazy response, claiming socialism is when you're poor, mocking his critics. There's a difference between being poor and being extremely wealthy. You're a hypocrite for fighting income inequality while benefiting so greatly from it. It's like fighting for freedom when owning slaves.
And unlike Venezuela, which clearly doesn't abide by these principles, social democracies like Norway and Finland have been able to offer social safety nets and regulate industries without resorting to eating rats.
I've mentioned this before, but I bring it up again because it really shows the disconnect between these faux American socialists and the European countries that they idealize. After Bernie Sanders kept alleging that the Nordic countries were socialist, Denmark's Prime Minister actually responded, saying, "I know that some people in the US associate the Nordic model with some sort of socialism. Therefore, I would like to make one thing clear. Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy. Denmark is a market economy." Sweden historically did try something more closely resembling actual socialism. The IKEA founder left Sweden in 1973 due to socialist taxes, and so they abandoned that model.
Implementing universal healthcare would save us money. So what do you really fear, Varney? Is it actually Venezuela? Or the fact that the status quo is changing and rich assholes like you might have to pay a little bit more so that the rest of us don't have to go bankrupt? Or
Hasan is sitting in his $3 million mansion, getting $1 million each year from Twitch, afraid that he's going to go bankrupt. These guys are social democrats, not democratic socialists. This is a quote from a Venezuelan citizen living in poverty that I think sums it up. There shouldn't be either too much capitalism or too much socialism. But the thing is, most people would agree, most sensible people at least, that there should be more capitalism than socialism.
What's up, folks? I'm live and alive, and we got a lot to talk about. I was right about Ukraine. That's right.
I think maybe I'll tell my editors to do this, but I think I'll just change I'll change this every day to Ukraine has still not been invaded by Russia every day. Change it to Russia still has yet to invade Ukraine. And it's like day 11 at this point. You know, I'm wrong. I was wrong. I did not even think that Russia would take over eastern territories, and I was wrong. I think that if the reports are true, because there's been a lot of information that has been wrong, completely wrong. The reason why I'm saying a lot of the information that's coming out of the State Department is wrong or outright false is because what I'm showing you right now is literally fucking people talking about like bombing Kiev, okay? Their take was Ukraine is going to be invaded. Kiev is going to be invaded by Russia. That is insane. That's psychotic. Like, it's just psychotic.
It actually amazes me how some of these left-wing streamers can be so incorrect, yet so audacious in their confidence. It's nearly commendable and admirable how confident they can be with such nonsense, like Vosh and his Aqua takes. A bit of humility would go a long way.